Okay, this is Kal Kat, the Kal Catster, and this is a review of Army of the Dead, the 2021 uh, Zack Snyder movie, Las Vegas heist movie slash zombie movie. Yeah, so yeah, apparently there's Stone Gremlins and the other ones, and Channel Awesome have already seen it, and now since Red Letter Media just did their review of it, I didn't watch the Red Letter Media one yet. I'm gonna do mine. My thoughts on the movie. Yeah. It, the basic plot is that there's an accident on the road. There's a guy getting a Hummer on the road, of course, with his accent, and this motorcade of things, a military motorcade, carrying a zombie, crashes into the guy, and so for some reason everything explodes, and the zombie escapes, and then they call for support, and then that basically starts the story and the credits. Yeah, so from there we have a lot of this migrant camp scenario, similar to the ones in other movies like it. There was a couple of Netflix movies that are similar to this, that were doing the migrant camp thing, making it, the evil migrant camp guy. There's a rapist kind of creepy guy there. Something's gonna happen to him. There's the strong female characters. Something's gonna happen to them. But Zack Snyder, of course, in doing his shtick, also inadvertently is sexist without trying to be. So there are moments in it that are like, okay, yeah, I'm going to show you that these bad guys are sexist. A couple of the bad guys are. But then I'm going to show you that they have women empowerment, and then I'm going to show you them being sexist again, as though that makes them empowered. That's not how that works. But in his universe, in his mind, that's how that works. He was the guy that directed Sucker Punch. That it was empowering for them to be in their fantasy world where they're doing something. It's not. No, empowering would be that they kick ass and take names of the main bad guys. That would be empowering. The bad guy gets it at the hands of the chicks. That is not really what happens. So anyway, the movie, yes, empowering woman fantasy scene. The movie takes place in Las Vegas. There's a quarantine zone around Las Vegas. They devastated it. There's a lot of CGI and model work, I guess, to make it look like it's devastated Vegas. I guess they must have used some of the deserted Vegas during the COVID to film there. But mainly they used the abandoned casino that was probably going to be torn down anyway, or at least it looks like it, and another building to make it look like it. So you have a lot of running around in a casino in the heist part. The premise is that this Japanese businessman guy wants to set up a crack team of Ocean 31 type of heroes to go in and do a heist on this ancient casino that's like but it's in the middle of the zombie zone, right? So they've got these other faster zombies and they got the slower zombies. So they got the slower zombies. They have the Jar Jar Romero zombies. They also got the Sam Raimi zombies that are faster and they do things like. So yeah, it's there's a lot of Walking Dead in there. They reference Walking Dead in there too, but nobody does anything with it. Yeah, so they reference Zombieland and a number of other movies. Yeah, so there's a lot of cheesy lines and cheesy Snyder-esque type of cheesy lines about how "Come on, let's go" was said several times. Oh, we're gonna die in here several times, and like, oh, you macho men, oh, I'm gonna get you, oh, or you macho ladies or whatever, gonna get you. So he is an equal opportunity machismo guy movie. Clearly he's building up the main character, who's the brutish dude, as a father figure sort of father to the girl, but also the mother's the love interest to this other lady. But a lot of that comes out of nowhere because it's just Michael Bay thinking, oh, I need to do a scene where somebody is reacting and that'll be interesting, without actually doing the scene. Yeah, so that's kind of silly. So what I mean is like he will set up moments during the fighting, giving them minutes to get out or whatever, typical of the thing, and giving minutes to do the safe. Well, also the time has no linear meaning. He does play with that at one point. They're in the room in the gonna crack the safe thing and whatever, and there's the dead corpses of another team that came in earlier are found, and the guy says, "Oh, it's a time warp. It's linear," and the guy goes on about how it's just linear. And so we have the basically Assault on Precinct 13 and the heist and Ocean's 11, sort of. There aren't 11 of them, but no, the original Ocean's 11 in the 60s actually ends with none of them getting the money. They don't get the money. They put the money in the casket of their friend and make it look like he died. And then they discover at the end that he's being cremated. And then they're all sad at the end and thinking their friend has died. It's because the money is being burned up. So Michael Bay thought he was being clever in doing a version of Ocean's 11 where they basically don't really all get the money. Some of them do, some don't. Sort of a spoof of the Ocean's 11 remake that had DiCaprio in it, in which in that version they get away with it, so they can have an Ocean's 12 and 13, and then an Ocean's with girls. It's odd, but sure. But that isn't how the original went. The 60s original was Sinatra. The money burns up. Nobody gets it. So he's being clever, but he's not remembering back to the 60s one. He's just a little older than me. I'm saying Michael Bay. I meant Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder. Not Michael Bay. It's similar, but no, it's not Michael. It's Zack Snyder. Yeah, he's I probably said Michael Bay in the other one. I meant Zack Snyder. It's a Zack Snyder movie. All the cliches and everything, Sucker Punch and all that. They're trying to make the feminine characters look like badasses, and the bad guys look creepy, so they can make fun of the bad guy or kill the bad guy, which is fine if they kill the bad guy. He's bad. And then have him show up again later as a zombie, because that makes sense. Then have him get killed again, of course. And have them with this weird, bizarre parallel between the wrestler guy and his estranged daughter, who watched him kill the mother when the zombie attack apparently happened. And there's this other lady who's confused for the other one, the daughter. It's not the same person. They look nothing alike except brown hair. But for some reason, got confused. But no, she was not the daughter. It was the other lady. But I think the problem with some of the characters, though, is that they are carbon copies of other characters. Even the blonde girl is sort of a carbon copy of the other one. And it's like, well, they're not really, they're sort of archetypes. I think that's the cliches. All of them. There's the brooding, tough, macho black guy, and there's the macho army guy. There's the macho, tough sort of wrestler guy that the lead. Yeah, so they got all that. They have the safe cracking German guy, sort of a German-like guy. It seems to be a Star Trek Discovery reunion, so you have the lady from Discovery who was on the bridge and the other dude playing in there. You also have the guy from Ant-Man playing a sort of bizarre Latin guy with his hair, the top of his head dyed. There's a suggestion that him and the other guy are going to hook up. There's a gag in there. Nice hair. Oh, thank you. The Mexican. But yeah, it's completely forced. It's like there's another scene where the sort of butch lady commander guy who's older makes a bunch of wisecracks like that. Like, was supposed to imply that, oh, is she a lesbian? I'm not saying it, but she's lesbian. So yeah, they go to different places that are out of place. It should say like that. The original Ocean's 11, what they did is it was the 60s, so they didn't have security cameras. They didn't have like infrared stuff and all that. It was the 60s. So when they attacked the casino, they turned the power off and they sneak through the casino, and they use glow-in-the-dark paint to get where they're going, so they can see where they're going. That's silly in that movie as well. But in this one, they turn the power back on to get in the casino. It does create an interesting. Well, it's a zombie movie. It's fantasy, clearly, but couldn't happen. After COVID, no. But still, like the stuff that happens in there, you can tell a lot of it's green screened, and they actually didn't shoot up a casino because clearly they wouldn't go into an active casino building and start firing guns everywhere and destroy everything if they were allowed to. So there is a making of thing. I didn't watch it, but I don't need to do a video on that. But they do play with time and space, as I said before. They go up there to crack that safe, and they're up there. At one point, they have a tiger. There's like a zombie tiger walking around, and that zombie tiger enters in later when he attacks one of the bad guys and eats him. I won't give away everything, but I'm not going to do an in-depth review of a zombie movie. Come on. A lot of the survival parts and kill parts make no sense. But again, it's silly. But it was entertaining though. It was a typical thing. Zack Snyder enjoys the notion of character moments in the middle of dramatic action that normally would not happen. Like the case in point, that weird. There's a poignant moment with the black guy, or the poignant moment with the safecracker guy, or the poignant moment with the mother, who we didn't know was the mother, or something. There's a couple of daughter scenes like that. Like they were filmed later to give levity to the characters, and they didn't need to be in the movie. Kind of the same problem with Sucker Punch years ago, and the same problem with Zack Snyder's Snyder cut of the Justice League. You could cut out most of those goofy, like, other moments that are trying to spell out melodrama to make it, ooh, isn't this dramatic? This character met with this other character. Not necessarily. You could lose some of that stuff. That's probably, this movie is clocks in at over 2 hours, and it could be 90 minutes. You could literally cut out like 30 minutes of, because we don't really care about the characters enough to care whether they have a dramatic moment, and it usually doesn't work. It's usually forced. It's usually in between them shooting at zombies. But it's a lot like it's a spoof of The Walking Dead. So yeah, it's a spoof of The Walking Dead. So they do that on that show. It's it's a mess. But they try to make the copter work, or not. They got to go to a chopper on the roof and fly it. That 5 or 6 times the chopper doesn't work. They have 30 minutes to escape because they report on the news. The news is somehow working. The TVs are somehow set up to the news, so they can hear them in the casino, even though it's apparently been abandoned for years. And there's like a news broadcast saying, they've moved the nuke up from July 4th to July 3rd, and they have 30 minutes to get out of there. They spend about 45 to 50 minutes after knowing this of time, linear time, doing things, talking poignantly and whatever. They had half an hour. Try getting out of Las Vegas in a half an hour. Not going to happen. Or getting into Vegas in a half an hour. Not going to happen. Even with zombies. It's kind of like that 24 TV show where they would go like 24 hours to solve the case and across Los Angeles and drive over there and find out things. But you'd be waiting in traffic for 8 of those hours. By the time we got there, the bad guy would escape. But yeah. Been to LA, I know. Anyway, so or any San Francisco too would also be an hour. So yeah, parts of San Jose would also be an hour. But yeah, LA is insane with traffic. But yeah, Vegas with zombies. So they have like this super zombie group that's kind of like the Raimi zombies, and apparently the unborn child of the zombie queen. Gross scene happens. The bad guy. There's 3 or 4 bad guys among this sort of Suicide Squad group that goes in there. So there's a little Suicide Squad in there. He probably wanted to do that movie too. There's a little bit of that in there. So he's like, so the bad guy brings the mother. They decapitate the zip line. It's a full decapitation of the zip line. They bring they take the head bring it back to the other people because this guy's crazy. He's gonna get more money for the head than he would for the millions that are in the safe. So he's gonna go get the head, and the zombie king goes back, and they apparently try to birth the zombie baby, which comes out, and it's dead. So, no. So they go on a rampage to try and stop them. Because you see, the zombie queen let them go into the building. Because they had a peace offering. They handed the rapist guy, asshole, to the zombies. Led to him being turned into one later to come after them, which was yet another example of the infamous, let's have the villains do something that that gives the heroes an advantage, but then a disadvantage. Or it's the reverse of the Battlefield Earth thing, where the villains train the heroes to defeat them. In this case, it's the villains are given one of the heroes to try and defeat them. So it's kind of flipped on its side, but it's still the same idea. This idea being like, okay, we're going to give you an advantage to the other side, knowing this is going to come back to bite us later. Why would we do that? Literally. And they go back to the other story. There's another room that they fly off to in the helicopter. They go to another building, and they find this lost girl. There's a lost girlfriend lady they got to go rescue. The daughter has run off to go rescue the friend. The head is swapped for a piece of equipment. The guy's been schnookered. He gets killed by the tiger. I think he got killed by the tiger. I think it ate him. Bad guy was trying to escape. The rapist guy, though, he got killed in another scene later on when the girls were hidden in ladies were hidden in the other building, and the Rock sort of dude. I don't think it is the Rock, though. It's some other guy similar to the Rock. He goes in and he rescues.
Yeah, that's it. It was.
Yeah, I thought that was Dave Bautista. That's what it was. So Dave Bautista.
Yeah. Quincy. Oh, yeah, and another thing. Yeah, that was Matthew Schwingle. That was not the guy from Star Trek. So it's not Schrodinger. Matthew Schrodinger. So that was not the Star Trek dude. Just another blonde guy with curly hair. Wow, who was acting kind of flamboyant. That was not the guy from Star Trek. So it was not a reunion of Discovery. I was wrong about that. It was not. It was just there was a lady from Discovery in it. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I don't have to clarify that one. I'll go back and clarify things. Yes, Dave Bautista. Funny though, we have. This is Nora Amrizindir. Arna Zinder.
Noria Anazunder as Siko. I mean, the other lady. Yeah, so, anyway, just, not really. Okay, so, now we get into so they go on this heist thing, and they're trying to get away from the zombies, and basically the king zombie comes and he traps them. And the black guy gets bitten at one point, but the other guy quickly pushes him into the safe with what's left of the money. So the money's there. And then the other guy, the Bautista's character, escapes to the other casino. There's a battle over there. They fight the rapist guy. They get the girls. They save them. Then they fly off with a helicopter. The nuke goes off. The king guy follows him up there to the roof, but he gets into the helicopter, jumps up into it. So he's there, and he bites the Bautista character, and they crash. This leads to a beautiful death scene where the daughter and the father guy in a weird, messed up, mentally disturbed idea that like Zack Snyder is clearly referencing family issues that he had all through this movie, including this scene here, saying, "No, it should have been me. That's horrible." But that's what he's clearly. That was the grossest scene in the movie. It was like, okay, yeah. Let me explain that story. Yeah, Zack Snyder couldn't finish Justice League originally because his daughter took her life. So, he's messed up. So Joss Whedon had to do it. And then later on, he redid it. So, by having several poignant scenes of father and daughter, he can't help but make a parallel. That is, he trying to make a story about his relationship with his deceased daughter and make a weird sort of idea that at the end he's the hero that sacrifices himself instead of her doing this other thing. And it's like really creepy and weird. So I wasn't chuckling. I was like, this is just odd. It's ew. Like, well, maybe that wasn't the case, but it certainly looked like that was the case. But no, he didn't die. Obviously, they kept putting this implications of death in there, and maybe he was thinking of something else. But it is Zack Snyder, so maybe that was there were scenes like that peppered throughout the Zack Snyder reprint as well. Yeah, you couldn't help but think of that other incident, that family drama that he had. That there's something in this movie that's like, oh, this is a movie that she would have liked, and it would have been cool if she was there. And but then instead of him, it was her, and it was him, and they keep doing that back and forth in the movie, and it's like, it's just kind of creepy and weird. It's like, dude, that's fucked up, but no, 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 that's horrible. But yes, yeah. Yeah, so the kills, the zombie kills are great, but yeah, it has a lot of zombie kills. The message is blunt, over the head, like the government bad guys are putting people in camps and putting them in a thing, and there's a virus or something, and it made everyone crazy, and wink. They also have that, but that's fine. Why not? He could have called it COVID zombies, but I think that was already taken. Yeah, except the fever goes down when they get the zombie plague, not up, which is strange. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's screwed up. But yeah, okay. Here's the parallels to a story he didn't read, but we must have discussed at one point. He probably watches our channels. Death Comes to Disneyland. Not Death Comes to Disneyland. The prequel, the original. Death Comes to Las Vegas. Mark's Cards. Way back. First Mark's Cards story, really. Death Comes to Disneyland was, I think, after Death Comes to Las Vegas. And we based these stories on the Sanchonis, the Demons of Rockburg, all the goofy stuff, that these weird horror stories we wrote, ripping off Stephen King. Some of them became something called Stranger Things. That other guy said he had the credits for that, and he was trying to sue him. No, it was us. He took our story, not your story. It wasn't the Nanatuck mystery. It was us. Stranger Things was taken from Silly Trek, Starship Locations, and we were okay with that. We're cool with that, so we were okay with it. But yeah, this is Death Comes to Las Vegas from the 90s. It literally is Death Comes to Las Vegas. It has your cliched hero characters and everything. It has Mark's Cards' Mako character. He's totally in there. It has a Strawberry character. He's the safecracker. That totally makes sense. It has Seiko Kimbo, as plain as day, realized as a character. Blonde, short hair, and evil. Basically Christina and Libby from high school. From high school. That's what we based her on. So Seiko's running around, a blonde, blue-eyed girl that was a terror. Not really, but, Anyway, if you're watching this, yeah, we're kidding. But yes, maybe she was a little bit. I don't know, but also disturbed. But yeah, we're not. We're just kidding. But yeah, in the movie, Seiko is a it never got aired anywhere. The story, and we might have discussed the story that comes to Las Vegas. The town gets invaded by zombie creatures in a similar way. You have the tough as nails Latin lady based on somebody that John got wrong because he didn't realize she wasn't Latin, but that's fine. Mako's in it, so that's cool. The wrestler, giant wrestler dude, clearly Big Tim. The big black guy was clearly Lonnie, so there we go. And they're all doing their thing, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is if On Location, Cillian Stories made a zombie movie, put everybody in it now as adults. It's just sort of been this, including a zombie kitty cat. Of course there's a zombie kitty cat. There has to be a zombie kitty cat. Because, because that's awesome. And a zombie tiger. We'd actually been to, like the Siegfried and Roy show, so we know. Oh, yes. So he's not ripping us off, but it does seem very similar.